The night I turned 55, my penthouse felt like a glass coffin. 60 floors above the city lights were everywhere, just not in here. 55 candles flickered on a chocolate cake I hadn't touched, casting long shadows across cold marble. 3 years ago, a drunk driver ran a red light and crushed more than my spine. Since then, I'd built walls so high nobody could climb them. Not my sister, not my oldest friends, not even the assistant who'd been with me for 2 decades. I told myself I didn't need anyone. Truth was, I was terrified of being seen like this. I was staring at the candles, wondering if I should blow them out or just let them burn themselves into waxy puddles when the elevator chimed. Probably security. I didn't move. Then came a chime I hadn't heard in years, the doorbell. I wheeled to the door more irritated than curious and pulled it open. Standing there was a woman in a janitor's uniform, cheeks flushed with embarrassment, and beside her, a little girl in a purple backpack. "I'm sorry," the woman said quickly. "We're with the cleaning crew. There was a mix-up with the floor assignments." "Are you having a birthday party?" the girl interrupted, peering past me. "'Cause I saw your cake, and it's really pretty. I should have sent them away. That's what the old me, well, the last 3 years of me would have done, but something in that kid's eyes. Fearless curiosity with no pity. I said, my voice rusty. "But it's just me tonight. That's lonely," she said matter-of-factly. "We could join you. Mummy brought her work dinner and I have crackers." Her mother, mortified, tried to back away, but I heard myself say, "Come in, I've got too much cake for one person anyway." The shift was instant. My tomb of a penthouse filled with the sound of little sneakers tapping across marble, the quiet hum of a mother trying not to intrude, and questions. So many questions. "How old are you? Do you make lots of wishes? Why are you sad?" I told her the truth. The accident took my legs and I pushed everyone away after that. "That's fixable." She shrugged. "You just let people care about you again. Like right now we're caring about you." Somewhere between the Spanish birthday song she taught me and the frosting smeared across her cheek, I realized I was smiling. Smiling in a way I hadn't in years. And when they got up to leave, I didn't want the silence back. "What if I hired you?" I blurted to her mum. "Not just for cleaning, help me manage things here. Better pay than the service. And your daughter's welcome after school." She hesitated, eyes narrowing like she was searching for the catch. I just said, "Please." That's how Gabriella and her daughter Lila became my reason to get up in the morning. She brought order to my chaos, rearranging files, scheduling appointments, reminding me how to be human in a world I'd shut out. Lila brought colour back into this place, her drawings taped to my stainless steel fridge, her laughter bouncing off the high ceilings. One afternoon she sat at the table, pencil in hand, and said, "We're like fractions. You were missing happy parts. Mummy and I were missing safe parts. Together we make a whole cookie." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Weeks turned into months and I started to wonder what it would be like if this wasn't temporary. I'd find myself watching Gabriella in the kitchen or Lila curled up on the couch, and the word family didn't feel like a foreign language anymore. So I planned something I hadn't dared in years. I transformed the terrace into a garden of lights, white roses, purple irises, a table set for 3. When they stepped outside, Lila's eyes went wide. It's like a castle in the sky. Halfway through dessert, she couldn't keep the secret. "Mr. James has something to ask you, Mommy." Gabriella looked at me confused, and I just went for it. 6 months ago, I told her I was waiting to die. Then a little girl rang my bell and saved my life. I asked Gabriella to marry me, promised to love her and Lila for the rest of my days. She said yes. Lila shrieked so loud the neighbours probably heard, then wrapped us both in a hug. And when I told Lila I wanted to adopt her, make her my daughter in every way that counted, her yes came with tears and a smile big enough to break the last pieces of my old walls. We got married on that same terrace. Lila walked ahead, scattering petals, then stood proud as she read a short story she'd written. Once there was a sad man in a tall tower, and a brave mum with her little girl. And they found each other because sometimes the best families are the ones you choose. For a year, life was a rhythm I didn't know. And I'd been craving pancake Saturdays, game nights, art projects in the living room, business trips where Gabriella sat beside me in meetings because I trusted her insight as much as my own. And Lila, She'd introduced me at school events as my dad without a blink. The old me, the man who'd measure worth in market shares and quarterly profits, was gone. I measured worth in her laugh, Gabriella's hand in mine, and the way our home felt alive, even on quiet nights. On my 56th birthday, there were no lonely candles, no untouched cake. Lila handed me a photo album she'd made with Gabriella, page after page of our journey. The last page had a note: "Thank you for making Mummy happy and showing me families can start in the most wonderful ways. Your daughter forever and always." And just when I thought my heart couldn't hold more, Gabriella told me we were having a baby. Lila bounced like she'd won the lottery, already planning the nursery. "Now we're going to be 4, she announced, like she'd just doubled our fortune. Sometimes I think about that night a year ago, me staring at a cake in the dark, convinced life was over. All it took was a knock on the door and a kid who refused to let me stay invisible. I'm telling you this because maybe you've been where I was, walls up, heart locked, convinced no one could see past your scars. But sometimes the people who change everything don't knock politely on the walls you've built. Sometimes they press the doorbell without asking, step inside with crackers, and remind you what it means to matter. So here's what I want to know from you. What do you think really makes a family? Is it blood or the daily choice to show up for each other no matter what? And have you ever had a moment where a stranger's kindness turned your whole life around? Tell me in the comments. I'll be reading every word.